Scientists are getting worried. It's becoming more scary as China's Tianwen-1 Mars orbiter and rover seems to be in trouble. Everyone is asking what's going on. The unexpected, extremely prolonged sleep of the China spacecraft has kept scientists on edge for the past few weeks. The recently awarded spacecraft has left scientists with more questions than answers on its first-of-a-kind interplanetary mission to Mars. China's Tianwen-1 Mars mission was one of the most distinguished missions in spaceflight history. The mission was the first ever to combine orbiting, landing, and roving in a single launch. Of course, we all know China's space missions are often dangerously ambitious. No country had ever sent an orbiter and rover to Mars on the first attempt. However, China succeeded, making the Tianwen-1 a historical conquest. In July 2020, the Tianwen-1 spacecraft lifted off from Wenchang Spaceport to embark on its first mission and entered Mars's orbit on February 10, 2021. And to the amazement of all, Tianwen-1 pulled off a major surprise for the Lunar New Year by stretching out its small, remote camera for a selfie video above Mars. The new video was created using a space selfie stick that was stretched out from the spacecraft to record the video footage. Tianwen-1 arrived in Mars orbit as a single spacecraft. Once on the lunar surface, the landing platform stretched out its ramp, allowing the Zhurong rover to roll out gently onto the surface, exactly how China's moon rovers are deployed. The solar-powered Zhurong rover touched down on the red planet's Utopia Planitia plane in May of that year, on the exact spot where NASA's Viking 2 spacecraft landed in the 1970s. That was on the 14th of May, 2021. According to scientists and astronomers, Mars landings are usually challenging. They require heat shielding, thrusters, and supersonic parachutes, a dreadful experience that NASA nicknamed the 7 Minutes of Terror. Tianwen-1 continued its extended science mission in Mars orbit, but down on the surface, the Zhurong rover slowly went into hibernation to survive the winter in Mars's northern hemisphere. A mission team member indicated during a question and answer session that the 530-pound or 240 kilos solar-powered rover would wake up and resume activities in December 2022, or no later than January 2023, when sufficient solar energy reaches Mars. Ironically, nothing has been heard of the rover to date. Let's dive a little into the probe. Firstly, why name the spacecraft Tianwen? What does Tianwen mean? Tianwen means questions to heaven, or better still, questioning heaven. The inspiration came from a popular Chinese poem written by the ancient Chinese poet Q Huan. In the poem, Q Huan raises a series of questions about the sky, the stars, and natural phenomena, showing his desire to know more, which matches the purpose of the mission. What does the spacecraft look like, and what is its primary mission? The Tianwen-1 Mars probe is made up of 3 components: an orbiter, a lander, and a rover. The orbiter will circle the red planet from above in order to explore it. The lander will land the probe and carry out ground discoveries, diagnosis, and captions, all from a fixed location. As for the rover, it is to go around the planet exploring various sites. The primary mission is to investigate Mars's atmospheric conditions and its environment. The probe will help examine the atmosphere, landscape, and geological and magnetic characteristics of Mars. These findings will shed light on the origin and evolution of Mars and the solar system as a whole. For example, water does not currently exist on Mars's surface, but it once did. This was discovered as a result of the striking dry canyons and river channels seen from orbit, as well as minerals found on its surface that only form in liquid water. There's a hypothesis that something happened to Mars's atmosphere around 3 billion years ago that made most of the liquid water vanish. Perhaps there could have been some leftover water underground, shielded from the dangerous solar radiation that bombards the planet's surface. The probe is expected to help find answers to all these. China's Tianwen-1 was launched on July 23, 2020, amidst the global pandemic, and will, among other things, search for pockets of water using radar mounted on the Zhurong rover. The European Space Agency's Mars Express, alongside NASA's Perseverance, found evidence of water using radar from orbit, but the Chinese rover will be the first to conduct a search from the ground. Was the probe launched at the wrong time? Probably not. For an expedition to Mars, a launch window opens every 26 months. During this available window, the Earth and Mars are properly aligned on the same side of the Sun, meaning the journey will require less rocket fuel and time. So China launched the Tianwen mission during the designated window, which was between July and August 2020. If China had missed that moment, it would have been compelled to wait another 2 years. Though China's Zhurong Mars rover may be struggling to emerge from sleep mode, a feat it was expected to accomplish around December 26th, it has nothing to do with the launch date, or be considered a failed mission. It went into hibernation in May 2022, a year after landing on Mars. The rover has since been waiting for the lunar weather to warm up and subsequent sandstorms to pass before resuming its exploration of the red planet. According to a recent story in South China Morning Post, 2 sources claimed that the rover has resumed operation but has not re-established contact with mission control. Another source speculated that Mars's winter storms hampered Zhurong's ability to generate power by coating its solar panels with dust. Well, that appears feasible, knowing fully well that accumulated dust means less light reaches the solar panels. Moreover, similar occurrences had happened in the past on other Mars probes. According to the complimentary information released by the China National Space Administration, CNSA, the rover's only energy source is from the Sun, solar. Zhurong's energy has 4 butterfly-shaped panels to provide such energy. They explained further that when Zhurong hibernates, the electrical equipment is turned off as well. The previously collected solar energy has been converted into heat energy and stored to warmly protect the electronic equipment in the cabin, ensuring that the rover has enough energy to complete the autonomous awakening, they added. Autonomous awakening is expected to occur when the power level reaches 140 watts and the temperature of the lunar atmosphere increases a little, which is the current state of things. Howbeit, all attempts seem to be futile. So, recently, the Chinese space program came up with a plan to send its Tianwen-1 probe to examine and take pictures of the rover to ascertain the problem. Unfortunately, that probe is also having issues. This time, the probe is not picking up signals from the Chinese mission team. It is unable to communicate with the ground station. But what's going on? This is weird. You know why? The Zhurong rover's extraordinary features. Zhurong has the ability to communicate directly with Earth or via its Tianwen-1 orbiter, which provides a high-speed data relay. The orbiter is equipped with a set of scientific instruments for investigating Mars, including a high-resolution camera that can capture breathtaking photos. The rover radar works by firing radio waves into the surface and measuring the time it takes for the waves to reflect, allowing scientists on Earth to piece together a 3D image of what lies beneath. Courageously, China's National Space Administration declared Zhurong and the Tianwen-1 Mars mission a success, notwithstanding its current state. From their explanations, the rover was supposed to last 90 days on Mars, which was in June 2022, but it had outlived its limitations. Another unbeatable achievement was the rover's travel of almost 2 kilometers, only to spot evidence of ancient flooding. The joint effort of the Zhurong and Tianwen-1 missions has amassed over 1,040 gigabytes of raw scientific data through 13 onboard scientific instruments. Another notable achievement of Zhurong was an in-orbit relay communication test with the European Space Agency's ESA Mars Express probe, which demonstrated the capacity to convey data from Zhurong to Earth via the ESA spacecraft. But prior to this event, the country aimed to conduct its first asteroid sample return mission with Tianwen-2, expected to launch around 2025. They also anticipated a follow-up with an ambitious mission to collect samples from Mars and deliver them to Earth. The mission is named Tianwen-3 and will involve multiple launches from Long March 5, China's largest rocket, around 2028 to send landing and orbiter spacecraft to the Red Planet. Now to the big question. What if the Zhurong never wakes up? What would become of the scheduled missions? Besides, how sure are we of the exact challenge confronting the spacecraft? Could there be more than meets the eye? Talking about this, do you remember the leaky Russian Soyuz spacecraft that has left 3 space flyers stranded in space till now, followed by this sudden prolonged hibernation of China's spacecraft? Is there something happening out there in space that NASA and other space organizations are keeping away from us?